But I just want to introduce the world to William Lobdell.
Well, right on. Here I am. I think the Skype adds 20 pounds or something like that. I'm much more athletic and fit than I probably appear. Well, what keeps me going, huh? Well, obviously, I'm a professional artist. That's all I do. Try to work about 8 hours a day making art. The type of stuff I make takes so long that during the course of making it, I have other ideas for other things. I have I have more ideas than I have time to create things. So,
yeah, I can relate to that.
That's some people have problems thinking about what to do. So I guess I'm fortunate in that regard. But I just have a desire to create things with my hands, to make art, and I find it fascinating. I learn something new every time I make anything. I try not to repeat the same piece necessarily twice.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in a literal sense, but I try to add, I try to bring something different every time I make something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of different ways to do things, and I always have a lot of great ideas to make things easier and save time, and all those ideas end up adding more time and making it less easy somehow. But occasionally you get commissions and stuff, and in that case, you don't have to think. Well, you have to think as hard, but in a different way. I mean, your possibilities are shrunken down to what the client is interested in.
Yeah.
You still have to guide, or at least I try to guide the client into a direction that I find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I don't find it interesting, I'm going to end up making a piece of crap. So if I can buy into it all the way, then I can get engaged in it, and then it'll come through when you see the piece, I think. So.
Mm-hmm. So were you born in St. Louis, or were you born in Kansas City?
St. Louis.
Uh-huh. And you went to the Kansas City Art Institute for your undergrad?
I went there for about 3 years, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic place. Met some of the most beautiful, creative, and inspiring people that I've ever met in my life, all in one place. Kind of like the Hogwarts of art, for me anyway. But,
yeah.
People from all 50 states and different countries there, and just a real melting pot of different personalities and that type of thing. So.
And then you moved on to Webster to finish up, or to take?
I spent a couple years there, and then just decided that I was better teaching myself.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I did.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I mean, I finished off with the bachelor degree, but man, I think the most that I've learned is definitely through workshops or working in my own studio and YouTube videos or whatever. When I came to Prague, I actually took a couple of puppet making workshops, and in the course of 2 weeks, you learn how to make a traditional Czech style marionette, hand carved wooden marionette.
Was that little El Diablo puppet I saw?
Yeah, that's one of them. I made 2 of them. Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, they're cool. So I guess I'm curious how you kind of emerged into the style that you have now, or what sort of steps happened there, or maybe your moment of discovery on this technique.
As far as like learning and teaching yourself and stuff, I think that's what I learned most at the Kansas City Art Institute was how to teach myself. I think that was the most valuable thing. Realistically, no one can really teach you how to paint or draw or do anything. You have to do it yourself. Be repetitive about it, put time in, and that's where you learn, I think. But you can be guided in how to push yourself, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not sure if I'm doing a very good job of that, but I was just making traditional paintings, for quite a while. Just painting on canvas, other things, drawing, little, some sculpture and stuff. But I was trying to find my voice more, trying to push myself, learn new things, start incorporating different things, mixing things together. So my paintings became textural, stuff on the canvas and painting it, and trying to express my experience in the world through I don't know, people call it fisheye. I'm not sure that's really correct, but just altering the way my images are looking. In reality, you see, when you look with your eyes, you're seeing all the peripheral information around you, trying to incorporate that, instead of making a painting that looks like a photograph where you're looking through a little window out in front of your face, Trying to be a little more, trying to share my experience of the way I actually feel in an environment I'm in. By bringing in, the sides of the piece.
Yeah, that's a good way. I've never thought of it like that. I guess I've always went with the fisheye explanation because it was an easy thing to categorize in my brain. But yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm looking at that piece behind you, and that's a good way to see it. It's almost like it's almost a way to incorporate time into the painting without actually anything moving. Because it would take you a minute to kind of sweep that scene and kind of see all of that. But you've managed to capture that in just one textural piece, one sculptural piece.
Well, yeah, your brain tries to make sense of everything it sees, If you look at a corner of a room where the wall meets the ceiling, it's a straight line, right? But if you turn your head as you look at it, it's not really straight, it's bent. Your mind says it's straight from point A to point B, and it is, but if you turn your head and look, you're picking up different perspectives all the way around. So trying to kind of incorporate that into it.
Well, I was wondering about when you left school, or maybe when you were getting ready to leave school, kind of like how that process started. I mean, I'm assuming you weren't gangbusters right out of the gate, so I'm wondering kind of like how you sort of trudged that road, or how you came out of school and transitioned into life as a professional artist, and how long have you been out of school, or how long have you been an artist?
Well, I graduated high school in '85.
Okay. You look great, man.
What's that?
I said you look great.
Oh, thank you.
I was born in '84.
Oh, geez, come on.
I can cut that out if you want.
Well, I've been doing art before, obviously when I was in high school and pretty much straight through, obviously had to eat and stuff, so did some carpentry and some other things with my hands. As far as trying to make money at being an artist and that type of thing, I think I just started applying to art shows and, trying to show anywhere and everywhere I could. Some nice organizations here in St. Louis, Artist Guild, Art St. Louis, Art Dimensions, groups like that where you can meet other artists and show your craft and try and get your wall or your art on the wall of a coffee shop or somewhere like that. Anywhere where you can get some exposure. Just keep at it. You start making contacts and running into people, and you get yourself a show in a gallery or a group show in a gallery and a one-man show in a gallery and that type of thing. So just persistence and submerging yourself in the environment that you want to be a part of. If you played music, you should go listen to bands and hang around musicians. So
yeah. So if there were 3 things that you could point to, and these can be values or habits or principles or whatever, that keep you moving forward and continue creating, and also that help you sort of develop professionally, what would those three things be?
Really big on doing more experimentation and stuff, trying to push myself, and just not be afraid to make a piece of crap, you know. Don't be afraid to put some hours into something and have it turn out to be, something you put in a trash can. As long as you put effort into it, you should learn by the failure, as much as you did by a success, So there's one.
Okay.
Two, I guess would just be to do the work, There's no substitute for putting your hands on it and working, There's just no way to improve without putting time in. So I guess there's two, and three would just be persistence. I guess just keep at it. Try to develop your own voice. I think people are drawn to art that's a little bit unique because people are unique. You're making art just like everyone else is making, or you see it's some art that's popular and you're making that, or then it's going to lack that type of personal connection. I think that draws people into having a more unique experience. That's three.
Okay. So I guess the last official question is, if you were to give any advice, or if you had anything to say to artists who are thinking about getting in, artists who are just graduating or thinking about getting into school, or someone who's left school and maybe even someone who's retired and they've always been an artist, they just never had time, and now they're retired and they're ready to do it. Just any kind of aspiring artist, what kind of advice would you give to them, or what would you say to them?
I personally didn't really learn, or I've never been in a class where like, hey, here's how to take your art skills and make money at it. So every road is different for every individual, I think. But it's your job to make your own job. So you have to, if you want to make fine art, then you're going to have to find out how to do that. Be more illustrative, and you're going to have to figure out a way to do that, because there's no employment agency for artists. You just got to get out there and bust your hump and make it happen. And how do you do that? I think it's just by trying to immerse yourself once again in in the art world that's around you. Make contacts with people who are doing it. Ask them how they did it. Hang around them. Find out who they know. And just be there. Be ready to go.
Is there anything that you can point to? I mean, did you have any books, or did you have any mentors, or anything that you kind of used regularly to get help with that, or is it just something you discovered on your own through work?
Mostly work. I was fortunate enough to hook up with a gallery in Kansas City, which is where I guess you're referencing some work I've done in Kansas City, but as the gallerist there is a gentleman named Paul Durrell. He actually wrote a book called Living the Artist's Life. And I think that probably has some pretty helpful things in it for the young artists who are aspiring to make a living being an artist. He's been a successful gallerist and art consultant for years, so he took his experience and put it in a book. So I don't know if you want to get, there's other information similar to that online, but he's done a lot for me personally by giving me commissions and helping me, push my work out there. But that's, I met him by submitting to a call for art, for an art call for a corporate collection. So once again, that's just, it's just pushing yourself out there, applying to things, and, getting your network to expand. And so I met him. he's in my network. He's helping me out. So you just need to find that person who believes in you and your art, and he likes your art. He can sell it. You can make it for him. You can get it there on time. You can have it be professional. That type of thing. So it's it's just keep going at it. Keep meeting people. Your question?
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Yeah.
When I was younger, if you were brought up like, you're in the classroom scenario and you're like, how am I going to make money at this? Sometimes the teacher may be like, oh, hey, we're not going to pollute the art experience by talking about money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then you're like, well, how do you eat? It's like, well, I'm a professor.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I don't think there is an answer, but it is intriguing because I'm guessing you heard through your visiting artists that each person probably had a little different approach to it, or
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a potpourri of different approaches. Some people do adjunct teaching, some people are full-time professors, some people wait tables, some people are just full-time artists. It just depends on the individual. But I think that there are, well, I don't think I know. I mean, there are definitely principles that can be applied, that everyone can apply, or there's a wealth of experience that people can apply. You don't have to apply all the principles, but the same kind of principles apply in entrepreneurship as they do getting yourself out there as an artist. So yeah, I mean, that's what I hope to bring to people is at least put some things on the table for them, that answer a lot of these sort of basic questions. So they don't have to go out there and find it all out on their own. I mean, of course, they're going to have to find out a lot of it out on their own just by doing, but I want to sort of like, excel that or help them to move a little bit faster through that period. Because I think that's where a lot of people get lost. I mean, being an artist for me has definitely not been the easier, softer way, but I could have probably skipped ahead a couple of years if I learned some of the basic stuff.
yeah, artist, you're definitely an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's your product, and you have to figure out how to sell it. I mean, it's like selling tennis shoes is different than selling cupcakes, but you could be an entrepreneur in both. I think.
Yeah.
And being an artist is similar. I mean, if you're making money doing caricatures, that's going to be a lot different than someone who's making ceramics, or people who go the art fair route, or people who are gallery artists, or people who are doing T-shirt design. There's as many opportunities to use your art to express yourself and go in different directions, which almost makes it more difficult to kind of lay out a path.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like you said, I mean, the principles are very similar. I mean, principles can overlap and be quite helpful, I'm sure. But and it can be a bit overwhelming when you're younger too, because like you said, you're not familiar with some of this stuff, and you feel a little bit overwhelmed and lost in it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just swimming, trying to figure out what do I do. So having information out there like you're trying to put out is, I think, would be quite helpful and reassuring to some people trying to find their way.
So to everyone watching out there, if you like this interview and you want more, make sure you subscribe below. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I see you're working on something back there.
Yeah. Trying to get it done.
Okay. So thank you, William Lobdell, for joining us, and see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Sam.